When it comes to accomplishing goals, a lot of us have the same one in mind, to make it look as effortless as possible, almost as if you're using a little magic to get there. But the thing is that when you're at the point that you want to be at, a lot of people just question, why does your life look so mystical, so magical? How the heck did you even get here? But what they don't see is the in-between. And whether you decide to share that is completely up to you. Season 5, Episode 26, Take 1. What is good, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome back to the One Take series, where we get one chance to reflect on the day. No second chances, no third chances, one take, and one take only. I will obviously delve into this topic more and more later on. However, for today, I just want to go down the checklist because significant improvements compared to the rest of the days before this, right? Before this day, the only things we were really checking off were academics, a bit of one take, and then sometimes sleep. There were definitely mass improvements today. We did do a little bit of Jesus, not technically my morning and evening reading. However, what was nice is that I gathered with a couple people. We went through just a chapter in Matthew. It was really good, and it was honestly something I needed to hear. Talked about how I needed to be more forward in my faith, because I feel like I've been taking an approach with Christianity of because my idea is that I live life, I just kind of go about life, and then when people ask me what's my secret of why I am the way I am, then I say it's because I'm a Christian, right? Not trying to force it on anybody, and I still don't want to force it on anybody. However, it definitely did make me realize that I need to be more forward with my faith, and I really should be more confident and grounded, saying not being afraid of anyone and basically what they're going to judge me for it, right? So I think it is a really important lesson. Gym we did not accomplish today. We're going to get to that probably tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're going to try, and then we'll touch upon that, right? For academics, incredible day. I'm just going to have to touch on that in a little bit when we go about our day. In terms of, work, we did not work today. We added that to the counter. We plan on working over the weekend. Again, more on that later. Same thing with music. When it came to research, though, I didn't do anything research related across this week. However, I was able to send 2 emails. One to schedule a final, hopefully, follow-up appointment with the one professor that I already got the tour of the research lab for. Just as a final, hey, I want to meet up with you to say, what type of role can I play in your lab if I were to hypothetically go there. So there's that one, and then there's the one that I wanted to do that was originally on 9/11, however, that I couldn't attend due to reasons, right, and scheduling errors. So pretty much, we sent both of those emails out, and they both got back to me pretty quickly, and ironically enough, both of them are happening 1 week from today. So mark your calendars, One Take 33, we're going in for the research. Pretty much, we're going in, I'm assuming one way or another, we're landing some sort of research position, that's for sure. Even if research is not entirely my thing, or entirely my area of expertise, the thing is that I need some sort of experience with more lab equipment and more stuff regarding what I want to do in the future. So it really is a thing of I need to make absolutely sure that I am going in and I'm doing the stuff that I need to do, so that way I can get on track with research, right? Let's see. One take. They're going to be time for shorts this weekend. We'll get to that. Big Brother, I was able to watch 1 episode. I probably could have watched more. There was definitely a lot of time wasting. I need to get better at that. Okay, but I did sit down and I voluntarily did watch a whole episode, which is good. We only have 4 more episodes left in Big Brother 4, which I think is massive. When we consider this, like I said, we need to average about either 1 episode or 2 episodes a day. Like I said, also, when it comes to working is going to be very important when we can, so that way we can do both at the same time, right? Because by working 2 hours, we're able to cross 2 hours worth of Big Brother off of our list, right? And so that definitely contributes to the 1 to 2 episodes a day. However, like I said yesterday, when I am wasting time, I need to make sure that I am wasting it effectively, at least getting one of these done. Big Brother should just be a thing of if I am exhausted and I just need to lay down and I was productive for the rest of this day, then my reward is I get to watch Big Brother. That should really be the new incentive, instead of only doing it when I work. Because if I'm not able to work, then I can't watch Big Brother, and therefore I can't check it off the list. So I needed to find a way to disassociate it, like I said, and then sleep. But the thing is that, okay, even though it's red, okay, 6 hour and 45 minutes, that's not bad, especially considering the rest of the week and how bad I was sleeping the rest of the week, because it was just 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours. Even yesterday, it was 6 hours and a 1 hour, 30-minute nap, right? My logic behind this is if we get at least 7 hours, then we mark it green. Okay, that is my goal for this. If it is 7 hours or more, then I will consider it checked, right? This is below 7 hours, therefore I leave it unchecked, I leave it red, right? So that is pretty much the main categories. In terms of like getting to the other things, right? So for, let's see, we'll start with the day. Basically today was it was very interesting. It was very unexpected, and especially in terms of the academics department, a lot of things that I did not think was going to happen, they ended up happening. Like if you were to tell me, I can't even explain. Okay, so we'll start off with linear algebra, okay? So basically I walk into linear algebra and I check my quiz grade, because last week I wasn't like too confident about it. I don't know if I talked about it or if I just found it out this morning. And actually, you know what, I do realize something, hang on. Before I get to that, there is a little bit of an update for music. We'll get to that a little later. But basically, when it came to academics, first off was linear algebra, and so I went into the class and I saw, I just kind of logged on to the website that are used to track all my classes, and I was not expecting it, because on the quiz before, the first quiz, I thought I maybe got anywhere from like a 4 out of 10 to, optimistically a 7 out of 10. I log on, it turns out I got a 10 out of 10. I just aced a quiz, even though I didn't really know completely what I was doing. Did not expect to ace it at all, but I was very hyped for that. Let me see. In addition to that, this is why I put the ... was because me and a few other people, I want to drop the name so bad, but oh my gosh, dude. It's another thing. I don't know why all of my artist friends, all of my music friends, they have a habit of making their full name their artist name. Which means that if I were to drop the name of the song, then basically I would be exposing his full name, and I really can't do that, but it's so annoying. Okay, basically, it's not the one guy that I was talking about with like the mini music industry. It's a different guy. I was roommates with this guy, and then in addition, I was roommates with another guy, right? There was technically a fourth guy, but the three of us, we collaborated, we made a song together, and so naturally I would name drop the song, but I can't, because that would expose his name. But basically the three of us dropped the song together, and it was really good. I think collectively, the three of us, it was some of our best work. It was definitely the main guy, it was his probably best production on a song. For me, it was probably one of my best verses, definitely my best feature thus far. And then when it came to the other guy, probably his most catchiest violin hook. So I think it was just a collective effort, especially the one guy that I am best friends with at college. He was the one who saw the vision. He was the one who saw three roommates that were living together, and all of them were in like different areas of music, and he's just thinking in the back of his mind, okay, how can these three people get together and form a song, right? And it wasn't until that guy really pushed us before we actually got a hold on how to make a song and what we wanted the song to be about, and it came out spectacularly. We made it in our freshman year of college, and we didn't release it until like 1 year later in our sophomore year of college. And so it was just kind of there for the longest time. Really, like nothing was happening with it. Maybe got around like 300 views on YouTube, which isn't bad at all. It's definitely more views than any of my current songs on my channel. But then basically, it was, okay, pretty much, to put it in perspective, this guy before, okay, I have one song that has hit over 1,000 streams. Yeah, I've hit one song that hit over 1,000 streams, right? It's called Bump Set Spike, and I was absolutely popping off. I was sharing it with them. I was like, dude, let's freaking go. And it felt incredible, because not a lot of, I believe it's 80% of people will never have a song over 1,000 streams when it comes to releasing music. Out of the people who have released music, only 20% of people have had at least one song that goes over that 1,000, right? Also, it was just a thing of, I was not expecting it at all, because I was plugging in my own music this morning, right? And so I just kind of like, I go on, and as silly as it sounds, usually I don't have too many monthly listeners, right? It's usually around, at my highest, my peak was around probably like 1,000, which was pretty good. It was really good, but that was because my songs were botted, which is a whole different story. But basically, and side tangents aside, I need a drink of water, I apologize. What ended up happening is that I go on, I'm just kind of curious, so I check my monthly listeners, because I just kind of do it every once in a while. And so I see that it's at 8, right? And usually it's like, on a good day, I knew that the previous day, or the previous couple of days, whenever I last checked it, it was around 5. And so I'm like, 5 to 8, like, that's a pretty interesting increase. So I'm really curious on where that went, right? And so then, out of, I'm checking mine, so I might as well check like my artist like friends, just kind of like to see where they're at. I look at the main guys, and he has hit 398 monthly listeners. The boy has done it. And also, the one song I was talking about has gotten over 1,000 streams. So, I mean, that was incredible. That was incredible. So basically what ended up happening is that a bunch of people went and streamed his song, and then some of the people were curious. They started listening to my stuff. So it's really cool. I love stuff like that, and I found it out partway through. What made it especially cool was that the person I sat next to in linear algebra, there was a part of like a monologue in like the song where we had a bunch of different people speaking, kind of spewing different lines, and I was sitting in linear algebra next to one of the guys who had a line in the song, and so it was really cool. I'm like, bro, like he was like, bro, I'm famous now. I'm like, dude, for real, like, oh my gosh, like it was really good. So that was awesome. But back to the academics, right? Because I swear this was so unexpected. I was already coming off the 10 out of 10, but I knew we had another quiz today, and so I was just kind of like, I don't know, like at all. Especially because if you watched Wednesday's episode, I had to skip the lecture on Wednesday to prepare for the midterm on the 1 p.m., which you already know was the best decision I could have made that day, right? And so naturally I didn't know what was on the quiz, but because I was talking about how I did well on the quiz, everyone was asking me, oh, well, do you know what's on this quiz? And I was just like, I don't completely know. I know there's like a little bit of maybe like this subject or like this one, and kind of like I'm spewing different things that we were covering, or like things that I mainly remember, right? And so eventually we get the quiz out, and I'm not feeling like too confident on it, I'll be honest, right? There's like 3 problems total. I'm only feeling really good about one of them and feeling okay about the other 2, right? We are 3 minutes into taking the quiz, and the professor goes, okay, class, let's go over the quiz. Huh? And so we're all looking around at each other like what? Like, what are you talking about? And then the professor is like, what? Like, and we're just all in disbelief, because what do you mean we're going over the quiz? We're taking it right now. But mid-quiz, she starts dropping the answers to the quiz, step-by-step process. And she's like, you know what? You guys can just turn it in. This will just be my way of taking attendance for today. Oh my gosh, goated, absolutely goated. So that was just incredible, because not only were we able to skip the Wednesday lecture to better ourselves for the midterm that was on the 1 p.m., but it didn't even end up mattering, because this quiz was literally a free 10 out of 10. Hopefully I got a 10 out of 10. I hope I didn't jinx myself or whatever, but I mean, just hearing that was just wow. Like, we were all truly blown away. I mean, you couldn't even make this stuff up. Getting that in like in college is like a mini vacation. It's like a staycation for the weekend. The fact that they literally just give you a 10 out of 10 on a quiz, like literally just a handout. Like, what the heck? This is crazy. So that was awesome. But naturally, we were not out of the woods yet, because we still had a quiz in my 1 p.m. class, right? And so I was just kind of like going back and forth, and I really wanted to have time to do like kind of like 7 through 10 on the homework, because I had thoroughly done 1 through 6, right? But I looked at a little bit of like 10 and 9, because they were like different concepts, and I was just gonna hope that he didn't put like 7, 8, or even 9 and 10 on the quiz. And so we get to the class, right? And so says that the first thing is like, he has graded all the midterms already, but he is waiting to release the grades until some random event, I can't remember what it is, until some random event has been over with, right, and has finished. And so basically, like, once he's done that, then he's going to post it. But what he will say is that all the people who are doing not so well in the beginning that have been consistently attending office hours have put up really good results in this exam. I'm paraphrasing that, but I know I am one of those people, so I'm hoping that's subtle foreshadowing that I did really well on it. And because I really do think I did well on it. I honestly think that I shouldn't be getting anything lower than an 85 on that exam, which is, I mean, that's really good. So, it was really good, and especially because during lecture itself, even though I wish that today was a lecture quiz, because if today was a lecture quiz, it would literally just be stuff we're covering in linear algebra, which would just be incredible. So, I mean, it was mainly a thing of, like, I really wish there was, like, an actual, like, in-class quiz, because I know I would have done well on it. However, homework quiz, right? And so the way that he does the homework quiz is that he goes down, he, like, puts up he puts up the assignment on the projector, and then he scrolls down until he finds a problem he likes, and then he's like, all right, do this one. That's how the homework quizzes specifically work. And so there's just suspense. There's suspense all around the room, and so he's scrolling down. I see him go past 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm like, okay, stop. And then he goes 5. Okay, please stop. 6. Please stop. And I'm literally out loud. I'm like, oh, please stop. And then he stops. Thank goodness. And I'm like, thank goodness, bro. Thank goodness. Because I knew that if it went any lower than the number 6, I would be absolutely cooked. So naturally, I did the number 6. I computed everything, and I know I got it right. Okay, and I turned it in, right? I was the second person. Okay, as I'm packing up my stuff, the professor was like, wait a minute, Jake, can you come over here? I'm like, yeah, sure, And so I come over there, and he basically says, how did you do this step? Or he's like, I don't understand how you got from this step to this step. Just so I can tell you guys on the board, okay, how I wrote it. Okay, because it's not that hard to understand, okay, let's be honest. So if you have taken elementary level math, you know about something called FOIL, right? FOIL is basically a way of saying that if you have a variable like this, like, let's just make it simple, x plus 1 times x plus 1, okay? FOIL is basically saying that in order to expand this, you would basically just multiply this by this, which is x squared. You would multiply this by this, which is x and 1, so that's x. Then you would multiply this and this, which is another x, and then you would multiply this by this, which is 1, right? And then obviously you combine, you do all like the simplification and stuff, you get something like this, right? That's basically what FOIL is, right? So what my basically problem ended up being, I'll write the problem real quick because I think it is definitely an interesting looking one, but it basically involves complex numbers. It's a I can't remember, I think the radius was something like this or whatever. But basically the integral, this is for residue theorem, right? This is the one I was talking about. But basically it looks like this. I believe was it x or was it? It might have been, yeah, it was x. So basically x cosine x on the top, and then afterwards on the bottom was it? Wait, hang on, doesn't sound right. No. Okay, there wasn't the x cosine x. It was, oh yeah, wait, it was just dz. It was dz on the top. Okay, and so basically down here was, I believe, z squared minus, in parentheses, 2 plus I, z plus 2I, right? And so basically, oh yeah, and then all of this is cubed. So basically there's a step in here where you have to find these things called poles. And what poles are, they're basically singularities in a graph. And what singularities are in a graph, those are basically holes. So if you think of like a function, let's just say, we'll graph it really quick, like y to the x, right? That's just a positive slope going like that, and that's like all that it is, right? Imagine like a singularity slash a hole slash a pole would just be if this value didn't exist, right? This is a very bad example because this is not realistic at all. But basically the idea is that y equals x still applies here. However, because there is a hole at this specific point, if you were to evaluate it only at this point, then the function would not be true specifically at that point. I really hope that makes sense. So basically, you're trying to find that because it is essential for computing the thing. Okay, how do you do it when there are numbers in the denominator? Well, simply put, you find the roots of it, and then you basically are able to, what is the right word? You find the roots of whatever is in the denominator, and based off that, you are able to find the holes. Because the idea is that if you know any elementary level math, you know that any number divided by 0 is undefined, right? You know that. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to find an equation that makes this bottom part undefined, okay? I knew, just off the top of my memory, and because it's common freaking sense, that this denominator gets simplified down to z, okay? And I will explain this in a little bit. Z minus 2 times z minus I, okay? This is common knowledge, right? Because if you really think about it, if you try to prove this, okay, let's actually just go through it. So ignoring this cubed symbol, basically we see that if we were to do the same method that we did before, z times z is z squared, okay? Z times I, or z times negative I rather, is z minus I, or is minus zi, and then negative 2z is negative 2z, obviously, and then freaking negative 2 times negative I would just end up being 2i, right? And so then you try simplifying this, you realize that these two formulate this exact thing up here, which is negative in parentheses 2 plus iz, right? That is not a hard thing to do. It really isn't, right? And because the main thing that if the roots aren't this nice, what you got to do is you got to go in, you got to apply something that you should also know called the quadratic formula, and you got to find everything, right? But I thought it was just easy enough to assume, right? And so the professor says, well, you can't just assume this. I have no idea how you got from here to here, and you can't just use magic in order to solve the problem, right? And so I'm going back to my seat. Well, he actually said that after I tried going back to my seat. He's like, you can't just use magic in order to solve the problem. And he was smiling. And so I laughed it off, but internally I was thinking like, my brother. Because there is no freaking way that your brain wasn't able to comprehend that I could just easily go from here to here, right? And so I basically had to redo that step because I know I got the rest of the problem right. So I had to go in and I had to try and apply quadratic formula, except there was a problem. When I tried to apply quadratic formula, for some reason it wasn't working, and I have no clue why. I still don't know why. So what I did instead, I wrote on my paper a similar explanation to this, right? Because I knew if I tried to keep applying quadratic formula, I would be absolutely screwed because then my whole argument would fall apart. So I basically just explained on the paper, we gotta find the roots, okay? And so basically, these are the roots. I just straight up said, these are the roots. And we know this, we can check this by expanding it, similarly to what I did here, right? And so I tried turning it in, and I'm like, how's this? And he takes it and he nods. And he's like, okay, perfect. I'm glad that worked because I would have been cooked otherwise. So that was fantastic, okay? And I'm really glad that went over well because that should not be anything else besides the 10. I know I did the rest of the problem right. I know I did this part specifically right. If he's gonna say that's anything other than a 10, I am going in and I don't know, I'm doing something, that's for sure, whatever I'm doing. So that was still fantastic though, okay? The rest of the day in terms of academics, nothing really. Oh yeah, I will say one person in not linear algebra, but in the 1 p.m. I had talked about my music with him, like maybe I was either yesterday or the day before, about how I make music, and so he also checked me out, and he added a bunch of songs to his playlist, so that was really sick. But then yeah, going about the rest of the day for academics, I pretty much got what I needed to get done, and that was the end of that, right? The thing is, so actually what's really nice, oh my gosh, we can check all this off, let's freaking go. Let's go, baby. Obviously, this is gonna reset because we have more stuff to do tomorrow, but I think I want to try something tomorrow, and I think we all actually do have potential to do this. For the first time tomorrow, obviously excluding research, we're just gonna label this one straight up. We're gonna erase this, and we're just gonna put up to date, right? That's all we're gonna put, because at this point in time, there is nothing more to do with research specifically. What did I say I was gonna put? Hang on. Update. I don't know completely. Let me see. Low key, I might try and use the bathroom real quick. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna leave you silent for a little bit. If you haven't noticed, I was trying my best to cover up part of the door because it spoils my school. So I'm hoping you guys didn't see that. I'll check back in footage to see if that gets revealed. If it does, then I'll cut it out. But I apologize to keep you waiting. So let's see. Oh yeah, I was gonna say up to date. That's what I was gonna say. Okay. Yeah, up to date. Because at this point in time, we have officially done everything that we possibly can for research. Except actually, you know what, that is not true. Okay, that is not true because I need to touch up upon the actual research paper. As well as look back in the lab again just to kind of see. So I'm gonna put back the 2 emails here. And long tangent aside, okay, what my goal is for tomorrow, I genuinely do believe, as crazy as it sounds, that we have potential to hit all 10 categories tomorrow. I think it would be really cool to see this entire board in green. I really do think it would be. I want to dedicate at least 1 hour to each. Maybe not at least 1 hour, but potentially 1 hour, okay? I know that Bible, if we realistically split our day, okay? It is currently 2:34. Which means I'm probably gonna get to bed at around 3. Fuck me. So basically, okay, we wake up at 10 a.m. Here's the plan, okay? Ideally, I'm not a scheduled person, I promise, okay? If we were to wake up at 10 a.m., either 10 a.m. or let's just say for the sake of it, 10:30, because we deserve more sleep than just 7 hours, okay? If we wake up at around 10:30 a.m., okay? And then somehow, okay, well, let's just mark it. This is going to be a little bit convoluted, okay? But this is the ideal schedule. I want to go through the schedule because this honestly has potential, okay? So 10:30 a.m. we wake up, sleep is going to be completed, okay? 10:45, we go straight to reading the Bible. Even though we still have one more to complete later in the afternoon, that is 1/2 of our goal for Christ completed, okay? Then afterwards we have breakfast, and then we do that stuff, okay? That's probably gonna take maybe about like 30 minutes total, right? That whole routine. Okay. Then afterwards, ooh, you know what we can actually do as well? Oh no, but, okay, hang on. Now I gotta start thinking about it. Man, 10 in a day would be tough. I won't lie. It would be tough. It would be very tough. But I feel like it would still be really cool. Okay, let's see. So then we'll say for work, we'll try and work maybe until like, we work until we finish Big Brother 4. That should really be the goal. If we have 4 more episodes left, that should be around maybe 3 hours or so, 3 to 4 hours. So we'll say it around 3:15. Then that would get on the money as well as Big Brother. Okay. And so by that point, we've already completed 3.5 of the things. So let's see, if we were to cover the rest of those, I want to keep going along the productive stuff more in the more. I either want to keep going with the productive stuff, or I want to take a break and do something a little bit. Ooh, you know what? That would be a perfect time to fit in a gym. So then we go with a gym. That's gonna be last until around 4, right? I don't plan on doing this each day, by the way. I just plan on, I think it would be cool if we can go one day where we check off everything in the list. I think that would be really awesome. Just one day where we give like truly 100% to everything. So that would be the working out, okay? That would fulfill that. And then so afterwards, we could probably get a little bit of a head start with academics. Okay, academics would probably last until around maybe, let's say like 6, maybe, possibly. Maybe that's a little too generous though. I'm trying to think, what could we probably get done in 2 hours, right? Because that's important. We gotta make sure we study for a linear algebra. So I'll rewrite everything here. We're gonna do a mass planning. This is a mass planning. If you want the lessons, if you're mainly here for the lessons, then feel free to skip ahead to whenever those are. But like right now, I feel like this is pretty good. So 1 p.m. currently, we don't have anything to worry about. Okay, so I'm gonna check that off. Linear algebra is the main one. We gotta study for the midterm on Wednesday. Okay, the lab, which I don't know why it just turned into ab. I guess because I just erased it. But the lab is due on Wednesday. However, I think I want to probably get that done on Sunday. Because like I said, it is a group project. And I think, tomorrow, we don't have to fit it into the schedule tomorrow. Because I know the lab report is a pain. That's for sure. That's absolutely for sure. I'm going to tuck in my shirt real quick. Hang on. I don't like when my shirt is untucked. It bothers me. It makes me look like I'm wearing like a dress or something. Like that's not what we're going for. We're trying to get dressed up, but we ain't trying to look like we're wearing a dress. There's a difference, right? So, okay, the rest of them. That leaves let me see and unplanned pregnancy and cool unk. With unplanned pregnancy, currently we are good. We are good until Monday. Which where the fuck there it is. Okay. We're good until Monday, right? So we're good there, which basically leaves let me see and cool unk. I think let me see would be entirely reasonable. I think that would be a great one to do tomorrow. Just get all of the following week done so that I don't have to worry about it. And then let's see, for the cool unk, it really, should I? That's the question, really should I? I feel like we should do a little bit just to kind of like get ahead. But I feel like I want to dedicate, let's say, how do I want to split this? Okay, maybe 6 is a little unrealistic. Well, we'll say 7. I think 3 hours should be a little more time to like fit in a little bit of each. So I want to spend maybe, we'll say, I feel like it should take an hour 30 for us to completely complete. Let me see. I feel like afterwards we should do linear algebra for a little bit. I think that would be really good. And then basically after linear algebra, then we can just call it quits for the day. We can save Kulung probably for Sunday. So we can probably reserve that then. And then we can say that this is going to be our Saturday. So basically that's going to be 4 to 7, okay? By then we're probably going to have dinner. And I'm probably going to watch like a few things with my roommate. So that's probably going to maybe last at around 8 p.m. I want to say. And so basically, what does that leave? Okay, so by that point, we'll have checked off sleep. We'll have checked off Bible. I'm going to count that as checked off, even though obviously we would read one more chapter. Let's see, that would check off gym. That would check off academics. That would check off money. That would check off Big Brother. That would check, I guess, okay. So then that would, we could technically probably push, oh no, but hang on. Let me see. Maybe we could just look at the lab. We could just look at we could review the lab information and the lab details. I feel like that would just be a quick and easy one considering all the other stuff that we're going to be doing tomorrow. I feel like that's just completely fine. So let me see. Let me go back with the break here. Okay. And then by 8:15, let me see. That's reserved for lab, so then we can check the research portion. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use that time a little more effectively, and then we're going to just use 30 minutes to review the one the one paper. Let me see. I think that would be a good use of our time. So then by that point, research would be checked off, which leaves, say maybe an hour of the portfolio. Maybe 45 minutes. I think that's fair. That would be fair. And then in terms of actually, we'll make it. We'll do yeah. We'll stick to 9:15 for the portfolio. Try and get that, or we can just use the resume. We'll kind of find out, but regardless, the point is we'll do something for that. Okay. Man, this is so ambitious, but I feel like it really could play into our favor. I'm not even gonna lie, it really could. Let me see. So, okay. Let's see. Afterwards, okay, we are now left with 2 things, and ironically enough, they are the fun ones. So, from there, we work on some music. Okay, that would be fun. That would definitely be fun. So we'll say we work on music until maybe about 11 p.m. I think would be good. And then we'll just honestly, because the day is already loaded as is, so I think we'll reserve making shorts for Sunday. I think that'll be better, especially because with one take, technically that would cross off the last one, which is basically, we'll say that ends at around 11:45 p.m. And so that would complete the whole circuit. Like I said, this is definitely not going to happen every single day. Whether it's going to happen tomorrow even is kind of up in the air and probably very unrealistic. But I feel like it would be extremely cool if we could just say for one day we got to everything on the list. That would be really sick. So then that would basically leave pretty much 12 until 12 would be my other Bible session. Okay, and that would completely complete Christ. Like I said, this is all subject to change, right? Whether it actually goes like this or whether it doesn't, I mean, I really cannot make any promises. I genuinely cannot. I don't know why I did that, by the way. I thought that was dinner or whatever. Okay, whatever. So basically that will complete Christ, and then based on showering, probably showering, and then going to bed, we probably get to bed at around 12:30. Okay? And that would be the goal. I think that honestly looks decently realistic. I really do think it would. I feel like we can make it happen. I really do think we can make it happen. And I would be very proud of myself if we can make it happen. So you know what? That's the goal for tomorrow. Let's go freaking get it. Let's do everything that we want to do. Shoot. All right. Let's see. So what did we learn from today? We learned that sometimes it is good to be realistic, but then sometimes you got to be a little more on the ambitious side. Because if you shoot for, I believe I said it before, but if you shoot for the moon, then you're gonna land somewhere along the stars, most likely, right? So it really is a thing of, if you try your best to put in 100%, then what will end up happening is that you at least put effort into some of those categories. Even if you don't put effort into all of them, you at least tried your best. And really, at the end of the day, that's all you can do. When it comes to number 2, we're gonna say, and sometimes in life, there's just those moments where you say, we take those, right? I was not at all expecting that linear quiz to be a free 10 out of 10. However, in moments like those, you don't complain about stuff like that. If something goes your way, you accept it, you realize that it's awesome, you say life is good, God is good, and you move on with your day. Number 3 is going to be the fact that when people question you, oh, you can't just use magic to get there. You can use magic to get there. That's the thing though. A lot of people don't see and understand that magic is important, right? Because they don't really they don't understand what you're trying to do, right? Some people don't understand what you're trying to do. As long as you understand what you're trying to do, that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who is fighting for you. You are the one who is pushing for you. So why would you be concerned about what other people are thinking? This is more of a metaphor, by the way, not an actual class. But why would you be thinking the thoughts of other people if you yourself are trying to better yourself? Stop thinking about other people. Focus on yourself. That is all I got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Cut.